Jonas Rex, captain of the 1912 Titanic swim team. And with a name like that, it should be no surprise that water is actually my favorite Pokemon typing. Kingdra is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, but I've pushed off this video because I've been trying to hide one of my other favorite water types from ice. But with the final month of this format upon us, I had to take the risk in order to share with you what we have come up with for Samurott this format. This video will cover the deck list, one match showing off my thought processes during the match, and a more thorough card-by-card breakdown at the end. Here is the deck list. What is up, everybody? Deck list time. So real quick run through. We're playing 3 Horsea, 1 Seadra, 3 Kingdra. Pretty basic. We're playing the 2 Clamperl and the 2 Huntail just because we don't want to get anything prized. We're playing the 2 Baxcalibur, again, prizing reasons. 1 Ludicolo, 1 Samurott, as they are kind of tech options for this deck. We play the 4 Carmine that you can go ahead and switch to 4 Professor's Research if you want, but we are going first, and being able to use the supporter on the first turn is useful at times. We play 4 Arven, 3 Iono, 2 Boss's Orders, 4 Buddy-Buddy Poffin, 4 Rare Candies, 4 Ultra Balls, 2 Earthen Vessel, 1 Super Rod, 1 Brilliant Blender, 1 Switch, 1 Night Stretcher, 1 Redeemable Ticket, 2 Air Balloons, and 11 water energies. If you have anything that you would go ahead and change in this deck, feel free to let me know down in the comment section below. And if not, go ahead and see what the gameplay is like before you guys go ahead and critique what we got going on. All right, Captain Jonas Rex here. We're going to be going ahead and bringing in the Horsea. And we have the Buddy-Buddy Poffin, we have the Ultra Ball, we have the Arven. So we have a lot of plays that we can go about. Looks like we're playing against Gardevoir, which is perfect. If we were playing the Chef Husky version, we would actually be going crazy here. Doesn't look like it right now. So I think on next turn, we're going to Ultra Ball, Arven, get Brilliant. Well, we want the Rare Candy. We'll see what we draw. Definitely it's a see what we draw kind of play here. God, there's tons of things I want to do with this hand, but I think just to make sure that we play into the Ultra Ball, we're gonna go ahead and just hold this. We could have Earthen Vesseled, maybe getting rid of the Iono, got a couple energies, and then stuck one on the Horsea, but we should be fine for right here. Let's see where they're going. They're going to Iono us anyway, so we're going to lose this whole hand that we held. Maybe we should have been a little bit more aggressive. All right, what do we got here? We have Kingdra. We have Bax. 2 cards we can get rid of off Ultra Ball. Maybe we find a Rare Candy. We can go get a Seadra attach, search out a bunch of other things that we may need, right? So there's plays to be had here. As long as this Monkey Dory's in the active, I'm kind of okay though. Let him try and build up his Ralts in the back while we also try and get established in the back. Okay, perfect. This is really great. We're gonna get a lot of stuff that we want into the discard pile on this turn. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna Ultra Ball, I'm gonna go Bax, I'm gonna go Kingdra. And then what do we grab here? We don't really need the Huntail in play yet. We already sent a Bax and a Kingdra. We'd want to get the Ludicolo and the Samurott into the discard pile as well, just to widen up our options. I think the one that I want first and foremost, especially against Guardy, probably the Ludicolo, just to throw off some of their math. We're going to want the Samurott later in the game. Let's go ahead and get this up and on there. If we had done this earlier, we could be doing 20 damage. Oh, well. Okay, cool. We got the Samurott in the discard pile as well. I don't think that there's anything prized that we especially needed. So we're going to go ahead and just end turn. If they go the long way up, they go Curlia, then we have an extra turn. Now we're just looking for a Kingdra. We have 3 things that we'd want to revive. Bing, bing, bing. Ooh, Artisan. Does that help us at all? Not really. We already have everything established that we needed. We usually get that off of the 1 Buddy-Buddy Poffin. So if you're playing multiple Buddy-Buddy Poffins like I am, you kind of don't really need the rest. And then I might consider switching to Research, just as Carmine is really cool if you need to be aggressive early game, but the more and more that I've played, you kind of don't need to be as aggressive on early turns as long as you open Horsea in a way to get a Clamperl. Alright, Secret Box is a card. Secret Box is a really good card. Let's see what they go after. Item card, a tool, a supporter card, and a stadium. Jesus. All right, they're really thinking about this. Where are they going? Okay, TM Evo. Yeah, so they're probably going to Evo up the Ralts. That makes sense. Those are going to become Curlias. But that gives us the turn that we needed. They're not going to be attacking this turn. There's no Rare Candy shenanigans. We're not looking at a Turbo Goatee here. And they bring down the Fez early. That does provide us a target if we want to utilize his boss's orders if we're available to. It looks like we're only going to be swinging for 150 next turn if we're able to pull off the Rare Candy play, but it might be enough. Might be enough to go after the, well, definitely hit the Monkey Dory in the active, but maybe we target down the Screamtail. Something else. We just don't want to leave damage counters on board for them to play with. And they only had one Curlia, so that does play to our advantage here. Boss's orders. Does this do anything for me? It doesn't feel like it. I do 20 damage to anything. They're just going to hit us back. I don't want to pull the Kingdra that's in the deck out of the deck. I think we're in a position where I kind of just pass turn. Again, as bad as that feels, we kind of just have to do it. Maybe we boss up the Fez just so that if they want to, well, when they're Gardevoir, they can just, what does Gardevoir accelerate to? I feel like it only accelerates to Psychic types. So actually that could stun them up a little bit. We could slow them down just a bit. We're not attacking, not just have it Monkey Doried off and onto us. Definitely. Okay, hold on. Do they have a switch off this Arven? Well, if they have to use the switch off the Arven, then, you know, that's another card that they had to use that they didn't. I can tell they probably wouldn't have wanted to go use to begin with. All right, Ultra Ball TM Evo. So they're going to TM Evo into the... Well, hold on. Are they going to TM Evo? Ultra Ball. What are they getting rid of? TM Evo Monkey Dory. Okay, that's going to go get the Gardevoir. Gardevoir gets put down. What Psychic Energies are in the discard pile? You have none. So it doesn't look like you're doing anything on this turn. You're just as stuck as we are. Okay. Okay, we have Arven. Arven's going to help get us where we need to be. We're going to Ultra Ball. And we actually didn't even have Blender in the deck, unfortunately. It is actually prized. We can toss this ticket. We can toss this energy. Let's go get ourselves that Kingdra we needed. And we're going to Rare Candy into Kingdra. Hello, everybody. We made it. We're going to attach another energy for future turns. We're also going to attach this Air Balloon so we can further get out of the active. But before we do any killing, we're going to get our King's Order on. King's Order is going to go ahead and get us Bax, Ludicolo, and Samurott in this play. So now we can get around any walls that we might need to. If this Fez stays in the active for one more turn, I'm pretty sure we got it. Odds that we draw an energy or a Night Stretcher could be pretty high. All right, let's see where they're going with this one. Vessel Charm. Vessel's going to be able to get them out of the active, because they'll go ahead and get that energy that they're going to need. There's two. Ooh, good play. Good play, because now you can use the Gardevoir to move those around. Where are they going to move it to? Because I don't believe Gardevoir can accelerate to anything except Psychic, so if they didn't attach, they're not going to be able to get this out of the active. They are just putting damage counters, though, that Monkey Dory can start moving around. So that is very useful to them, we'll have to say. But, oh, and they concede. Okay, so that is not what we were looking for here. We're going to go ahead and play one more game so we can actually utilize the deck. All right, we're back getting ready to start the second game. Our opponent just conceded on the last one. I think they realized that they couldn't get the active in the manner that they did, so they had to kind of just give up. They didn't really have a play for us. We're going to go ahead and just plan for a Horsea again. That's the basic play. As long as we don't get Iono'd, we have Ultra Ball so that we can go ahead and go get the Kingdra, Rare Candy into that, Iono, try and get some other cards, discard the cards that we don't want to play. Let's go ahead and attach this time, not make the same mistake we made last time, and we'll just end our turn here. So we're going to be up against Steven's Metagross, or a Steven's deck, because we do have Steven's Carbink, so all of our Steven's Pokemon take 30 less damage from your opponent's Pokemon. That's something to keep note of, because while we do swing large, I'm bad at math, so, you know, I don't want to whiff any KOs. We need to keep track of that. I don't believe this stacks. Cool, it does not stack. So we only have to worry about the 30 damage off right now, which is cool. Like a very tanky type. Ooh, and he has the Hero's Cape. That's something we used to play in Kingdra, but not anymore. Ludicolo does the job for the most part. Just making it a big number that's difficult to KO. The Genesect is huge for this deck. We gotta love Genesect. He's gonna go get them cooking with everything that they need on their following turn. But luckily, we're kind of on pace. So this Ultra Ball is going to get us right into action, and This Iono, well, I mean, Iono on Genesect doesn't really matter. Iono kind of really just makes sure that we're forced to use the Iono because we'll use it and then they'll just get it back anyway. Or we just leave it there and then they get more. So it's a good thing that we have the Iono. We're going to go ahead and get rid of the Clamperl and the Poffin, 2 cards that we don't really need anymore. I'm going to go ahead and grab this Kingdra. Now, there comes a choice right here, right? So I'm going to go ahead and attach the energy, but if we don't need things discarded, we're obviously not going to King's Order, so we might just start swinging here. See how this Iono plays out for us. Iono gets us a Samurott. Okay, that's awesome. A Samurott that we'll likely just be discarding on the following turn. There's nothing that I really want to go back and get with that rod. I can attach this. So we'll just go 150 right here. But it's going to be 120. Mad unfortunate because of the 30 that it's going to save. So now he's going to go get the Metagross that I didn't really have a chance to read. I hope it's in the log. What is its HP? I'm sure it is beneath 240 because we're going to have to do 120 again. Yeah, there it is. He's back. I don't need it. I don't need this log. All right. So he's going to go ahead and evolve into that. It is at... Oh, he's going to leave this one here. Is he rare candying into the one in the active? Maybe not. Maybe this is the sacrificial lamb here to buy them some time. He's going to go ahead and just let this one die. Granite Cave. This is the one that... Okay, so now he's taking 60 less damage. Now I really have to do more math because okay, hides it on the bench. Where are we going now? Okay, so he's giving away this one with 60 more damage. That puts him at 130 for a KO. We do have that. We have that in the bag. If we draw the rare candy here, that's insane. We go rare candy into Kingdra. Carmine, get rid of the Samurott. We'd lose our Super Rod, but it's not the most important card. I could see us replacing this with a Night Stretcher. Another Night Stretcher would not be bad. Putting the 3 back in the deck is not always the most important. It can be if you need a 3rd Kingdra, but usually 2 Kingdra plus Samurott is enough to get the job done. And we draw into another Kingdra. That feels bad because we are going to have to get these cards back at some point in order to play the game. So we're going to Carmine here. And then we rare candy afterwards. Does not feel good, but we're going to go ahead and just take the KO. Is there any point to getting Samurott yet? Not really. We'll hold on. We want to go one more turn. Hopefully with this Arven, we can blender, and then on the next turn, we're going to be King's Ordering. There are Kingdras we can bring back on it as well, so maybe we just bring back Baxcalibur. Even get it in there. We got to see how this goes. Maybe we probably end up just bringing back Baxcalibur, Samurott, and... another Kingdra, and maybe we miss on the Ludicolo buff in this game, which is completely fair. I can definitely see that. So he is going to 2-hit us. So if we King's Order, we are kind of sacrificing this guy, but as long as we can get into the Huntail, we get all that energy back, and second Kingdra would KO it. So that might have to be the play, just considering all of our Kingdras are in the discard pile. A Night Stretcher plus this rare candy would be good. But we also need the Huntail that we don't have yet. So top decking the Huntail would be super clutch here. Jellicent, and they're going to try and stop us from playing tool cards. I feel like this is a little late. We've kind of established the board, and we have a lot of things that we can play with. So hopefully they just boost to this Metagross and swing for 200. But if they don't, we could be in a little bit of a sticky situation because we will not be able to get our second Horsea or our Huntail set up, which is something we want to do before this guy dies because we want to maintain all of those energies. And if we don't maintain those energies, you know, that's where our Super Rod would come in. But Super Rod is dead. So he's got to go Metal Stomp for 200. That's fine. Rigid Band. Doesn't Rigid Band only work on stage 1s? Yeah, stage 1 Pokemon take 30 less damage. So L take right here. Probably didn't read. That's fine. This is effectively a 400 HP Metagross that I'm looking at right here because it takes 60 less damage. So that's a lot of energies we have to get onto our Kingdra in order to KO it. But if we get the Huntail in play, should not be too much of a problem. Just top deck Night Stretcher actually makes our job a lot easier. Okay, top deck Buddy-Buddy Poffin does nothing for us. So we're going to have to Arven here. Blender is in the deck, so we go get Blender. We have no tools. Real tough. We're going to go ahead and Blender. We're going to get the Baxcalibur in there. We're going to get Ludicolo in there because we don't need it anymore. Dang, we have to maintain this energy. So it might be Bax, Huntail, Kingdra. That doesn't feel good, but we kind of have to do it in a spot where we kind of have to do it. Redeemable Ticket doesn't really seem like something I want to draw right now, so we'll get rid of those. Yeah, this extra energy doesn't do anything for me. This Buddy-Buddy Poffin doesn't do anything for me. This dies after this turn, right? We're only doing 190, so we do have to King's Order to just get the board set up. So what we're going to do is we're going to get Huntail, we're going to get Bax, because we need both of those. And I'm thinking Samurott is kind of fine here to try and throw off the prize trade, but a second Kingdra, we're only doing 190 right now. It might be beneficial to try and bank on the Night Stretcher plus the Rare Candy that we have in hand. And actually, we don't have to really bank on it. We have Arven. We can go get that on the next turn. So yeah, we're going to do this setup. Get the Samurott down. And with the damage that they're doing, 200 plus, what is this, 160 at most. Yeah, the extra 40 HP from the Ludicolo is not much. It would really just protect things on our bench, but they're not going to be bench sniping us. So I'm okay with foregoing that and getting into Samurott, the card that we actually wanted to show off here. Samurott's going to be helping us move around, get around some things. I guess my biggest hope is that they bring up this Metagross. So this attack, it's 20 less than what this would be. So even though this is actively 190, this would actively be 170. 170 plus 120 is... bad at math here, sorry, 290. Ooh, Countercatcher. That stings. Is they going after the Huntail? No, going after the back. So that will force us to indeed King's Order a second time. And that doesn't feel good, but it gives us time. It does give us time. I'll go ahead and bring this up. Definitely go ahead and bring this up. I can stock more energies on here. Get a couple more. We can Arven. Yeah, we're gonna Arven for the Night Stretcher here just so we can get that Kingdra back. Second Kingdra. So now we have double Kingdra plus the Samurott. We do have the Huntail in play. Again, I just King's Order for the Baxcalibur here. That's fine. So this would be 220. That's enough to KO the Metagross in the back. So maybe we try and bait that out on the next turn. But for now, we're just going to King's Order. Bring back our Baxcalibur. We need him. If they target him down again, we're getting closer to the range where we can one-hit KO something, just try moving some things around. So honestly, though, if they waste a boss, we King's Order. Okay, cool. They went after this. That is completely fine with me. Let's get all those energies back in our hand. All right, and now we're going to move around our Samurott play. 7 times 5, that'll be 350, but they have way too much support unless we use this to get a couple more energies from our deck. Another Earthen Vessel. How many energies do we have? It's going to be +1. It would have been cool if we had a different card, but grab these. All right, we're at 8 energies. 8 times 900 to 450. That's actually a KO. Pretty sure that's a KO. Let's not mess this up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 390. All right, yes, that'll get it done. All right, down goes the Metagross. We're saving the Samurott in the back. It's going to be our clutch final thing, and it's also going to help us move things around because they're probably going to try and hide behind something like this Jellicent. We can get around the Jellicent with the Samurott. I want to see if I can get them to bring up this Metagross. That's really what I'm kind of after here. And actually either or gets KO'd by the Samurott, which is awesome. They have 10 cards in their hand. This would be a nasty Iono if I had one. I think we just boss up the Metagross here, and then that puts us in a pretty good spot. They're going to go Stretcher. What are they stretchering for? What are you going to put in the Stretcher, my guy? What did he grab? Oh, he's probably going to put it down. Okay, it was the Beldum. So he's going to start trying to build that one back up. There's nothing that he can get from the Genesect, I don't think. Ooh, gonna Iono himself. Okay, I'm fine with that. We're going to lose the boss, but this gives us more chance to show off what Samurott can do when needed. All right. Power press for 80. That means that we're not in range of the Metagross KO, which is huge. Another rare candy that we don't need. So the way I look at this is I can take the KO here. I'm not really worried about being item locked right now, but I do want to see if he'll feed me the Metagross or any of these other auxiliary Pokemon. Because if he feeds, but if he gives me the Beldum, that does kind of suck. That does suck if he gives me the Beldum. But actually, no, that doesn't suck that bad. Because we're doing 450 right now, so we can KO pretty much anything. I think we just KO the Jellicent. Let's not make it confusing. Let's not try and use the Samurott. We don't need to use the Samurott, but the Samurott's there. Samurott's ready. If this Kingdra goes down, Samurott is ready. He's gonna get himself into the active. Baxcalibur's gonna put all this energy on him, and we're gonna win the game. That's pretty much how that's gonna go. Up comes the Metagross. He's gonna do 200 damage and then die. Thank you for playing, sir. Thank you for playing. As we wait for them to make their final move, we kind of got to thank our sponsor out here, Bummy. Bummy official. You guys can find them on Instagram. Bummy does the cool Pokemon shirt that I'm going to have linked in the video at the end of this week. Yeah, so we just got to work on some photography for that, get some Bummy official clothing featured in our... Oh, Iono. How does that make us feel? I don't think that makes us feel too bad at all. All of our game pieces are on the board. We have our Huntail, we have our Samurott, we have our Baxcalibur, and now we have a Seadra that we don't need. And we have our Kingdra in the active. What do they do here? They attack, and then that is it. That's all she wrote. Unfortunate for them. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you coming out to play the game. All right, well, I mean, we were in this together. We saw what happened. We all got to be a part of that. If you guys think that you have better ideas for the deck, please do let me know. I'm far from the be-all, end-all of creators. I am not the most tested. I am just a creative out here trying to use my artistic prowess when it comes to making decks, and this is something that I really, really enjoyed. Again, Kingdra is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. Water types are my favorite of all time. Kingdra just lets you play with a bunch of water types, so expect me to experiment with this a lot more going forward. Unfortunately, in this gameplay, we did not see the Samurott, but I'll make sure to leave some clips that I was able to gather in the breakdown that we have coming up right after this. So thank you for tuning in. All right, so time for the deeper deck list breakdown here. We have the 3 Horsea, and we're going to be playing those 3 Horsea because we want to be able to get into at least 2 Kingdra, so that accounts for one of them being prized. We do play an absorbent amount of Rare Candy. We play 4 of them, so even when you just drop one down, we don't really often have to be using King's Order on the Kingdra. It works out that way a lot of the time, but there are other ways around it if you feel like you absolutely need your tech options to get around it. We play the 1 Seadra just so that if you have a Kingdra in the active, you can go ahead and evolve that Seadra onto the Kingdra on the bench and then eventually go into the Kingdra EX later on in the game as you need it. We are playing 2 Clamperl because we play 2 Huntail, and we want to make sure that we do not prize either of these pieces. These are vital pieces to the deck. So after you've established the first Clamperl, the second one becomes discard fodder. After you've established the second Huntail, the first Huntail, then the second one becomes discard fodder. Or if you discarded one Clamperl, what we can do oftentimes off our Brilliant Blender is just get rid of an extra Huntail. We don't want to be drawing into multiples of those. We just need the one after we've already got our Clamperl down, and as long as there are 2 in the deck. Same thing for our Baxcalibur. We play 2 because we don't want to prize it. The whole big power swings here come from having the Huntail put the energy back into a hand, and Baxcalibur immediately put it back onto the Kingdra EX so we can swing big again. We play the Ludicolo. That does make us pretty beefy. That puts us all the way up to 350 HP on our Kingdra EX, meaning that to 2-hit KO us, they do need to be swinging at 180. 170 and lower for 2-hit KOs won't really work. And that does also mean that like a maximum powered Charizard without any tools or any other modifiers does not KO us, right? So on one prize, they're not going to one-hit KO us with Charizard. I'm trying to think of any other big swingers that we might run into, but it's going to be difficult. 350 is a pretty big number to hit. In comes our new Samurott. So with Samurott, he primarily is going to help us move things around. What it's mostly helped with was dealing with walls. Anytime there's a wall, you can go ahead and retreat your Kingdra EX by using the air balloons that we have in the deck. You're going to retreat that, and then you'll use the Samurott to go ahead and bump it back into the active, and that'll force your opponent to move the wall that they have. That is useful when you're dealing with the walls and you don't have any more boss's orders available to you. Samurott is also a good one prize option. So it only does 20 less damage than our Kingdra EX. So if there were an easier way to go ahead and set it up without being able to set up all the other stage 2s that we play in the deck, maybe we would be able to play Samurott alone as a single prize deck, but as far as it's seen right now, just as a sidekick to Kingdra EX might be the best way that we're going to be able to play it, because Kingdra EX can get it into play without anything else. It can swing and offset the prize trade as a one prize option, and it can swing pretty big, right? If my Kingdra EX was swinging for 350, well, with the same amount of energy, my Samurott's swinging for 330. So it's a really, really solid attacker. We have the Carmine at 4. This is one that I think that we can change to a Professor's Research. It did feel like it was necessary to go ahead and play this at 4, so that way we can get really aggressive in the early game. But the more I've played, the more I realize we're kind of a setup deck similar to Gardevoir. We want to get all of our pieces going, and once our board is established, it's going to be really difficult to deal with us at that point. We also have the Arven at 4. When our ace spec is an item, I always want to have more copies of that item, right? So we play the one of Brilliant Blender, but if we want to see that very often, we're technically playing 5 by playing 4 Arven, right? So that makes Brilliant Blender a lot easier to find. We have our 3 Iono to disrupt our opponent, and just so that we can draw some extra cards. Sometimes we need to put cards back into our deck that we're not really ready to discard at the time. It does really throw things off. Maybe we can cut this to 2 Iono if we need to switch it out with something else. And I'm sure there are other supporters that you guys are going to suggest to me down in the comment section, and we can probably work and fiddle those into there. We're playing the 2 bosses orders. That feels like enough for right now. As long as we're taking big 2 prize KOs, then 2 bosses orders is fine. Plus the Samurott to get around anything in the late game. You could usually go 2-2-2 with just the 2 bosses orders. We're playing 4 Buddy-Buddy Poffin. Now, this is something that I have heavily considered cutting down. The only reason I play 4 is because I do want to see it as early as possible. The number one thing that I want to establish on my first turn going first is Horsea, Clamperl, Horsea. We have the Horsea in the active that hopefully we can Rare Candy into the Kingdra. We have a backup Horsea in case they do KO our Horsea in the active, and even if they don't, we can go into the Seadra on following turns. And we have the Clamperl that we do need to turn into a Huntail before our first Kingdra dies, right? That way we maintain all of the energy that we just had. We're playing 4 Rare Candies. That way we can just Rare Candy into Kingdras, right? I throw a Horsea on the bench. I don't need to worry too much about it surviving, because hopefully I'm just Rare Candying it into a Kingdra on subsequent turns. We have the 4 Ultra Ball because I need to be able to find my Kingdras. We're playing 2 Earthen Vessels. The reason we're playing 2 Earthen Vessels is so that I can get more energy into my hand, but I also don't need to get a ton of energy into my hand because it's going to stack. So the more that I put it back into my hand and put it back on with the Baxcalibur, I can draw with Carmine, I can draw with Iono. We're just going to slowly collect these energies throughout the game. So by the end of the game, we're going to be one-hit KOing most things. Again, we're kind of a setup deck similar to Gardevoir. Gardevoir is a little more big brain than this, but the pacing is a little similar. The Super Rod is something that I would consider cutting if you were looking to try and make space for something. I do like the Super Rod in the deck because it is a way that I can put a Seadra back. I can put a Kingdra EX back if I am discarding them. If I can put the Huntail back, but at the same time, if I just played a second Night Stretcher, it essentially does the same thing. Maybe we don't need the Super Rod here. Maybe we just play 2 Stretcher and we get those directly into our hand. Would be a lot easier. We're playing the Blender, obviously, because when I play Blender, I'm usually going to be discarding a Baxcalibur, a Ludicolo, and a Samurott. That is ideal because then we're just going to go into the Kingdras with our rare candies, and we don't really need to worry about that. In dire situations, as you've seen in the gameplays, sometimes we need to go put that Kingdra EX in the discard pile so that way we can have a second attacker because things just aren't working our way at the moment. We're playing the one switch with the air balloons. It hasn't felt necessary. Every time I've drawn it, I haven't used it, but it can definitely come up. Cuttable card here. Night Stretcher, considering going up to 2. Redeemable Ticket is huge because, believe it or not, even playing doubles of all these things, I do manage to still prize my Baxcaliburs. So if you want to up the amount of Redeemable Ticket that you play, maybe you can go ahead and cut those Huntail Clamperl lines down to 1/1, cut the Baxcalibur down to 1, right? And then you create space for other techs and options that you might have. A big tech option that came from Chef Husky himself is that we want to be able to play the Vanillix. Vanillix makes it so that our opponent's Pokemon with, I believe, 30 HP or 40 HP, one of the two, I'll probably throw it up on the screen, they cannot attack if they have that amount of HP or lower remaining. And that's hilarious against Gardevoir because they're putting all the damage counters that they can on Driftbloom and Screamtail so they can do as much damage as they can. And if they can't attack when they hit that HP threshold, then it's going to really throw off their game plan. Go check out Chef Husky's Hate on Gardevoir Kingdra EX deck video thingy. Yeah, it's on his channel. Go check it out. It's a really cool list. And then we have the 2 Air Balloon, and then we're playing the 11 Water Energy. I can see us cutting down the Water Energy if you need to. I can also see you going up on it if you want to make sure that you're hitting bigger numbers, especially because we are a Baxcalibur deck. Now, if you guys have any comments to make this deck list any better, go ahead and let me know down in the comment section below. If you liked this video, make sure you go ahead and like, subscribe, comment, all the things that are going to help the 1912 Titanic swim team become the true swim team of the ocean. And then if you guys want to go ahead and suggest what the next card is that you guys would like to see played, go ahead and let me know. I know Samurott was not the centerpiece of this deck, but you know, not every card needs to shine in its own deck. Sometimes we get a bunch of sidekicks in a pack, and I'm really looking forward to Megas because they seem like they are going to steal the show. But until next time, it is your boy Jonas Rex of the 1912 Titanic swim team, and I am signing out.